The observation deck of the Galactic Zoological Research Station hummed with nervous energy as Rose pressed her face against the reinforced viewing glass. Below in the containment chamber, a creature the size of a small shuttle prowled in circles, its 6 eyes gleaming with predatory intelligence. "That," announced Trainer Vexoth, his crystalline carapace clicking anxiously, "is a Carveth Alpha, native to the death world of Mortis 7. It has killed 3 handlers in the past cycle alone." The assembled xenobiologists murmured among themselves, their various appendages twitching with unease. Rose simply watched, her brown eyes tracking the creature's movements with calm curiosity. "It'll bite anyone who moves," Vexoth warned, his translator struggling to convey the gravity in his voice. The species evolved to hunt by motion detection. Even the slightest twitch triggers its attack response. "We've tried sedation, neural dampeners, even stasis fields. Nothing works for more than a few moments. So what's the plan?" asked Dr. Threen, a 4-armed Quellan researcher. "Terminate it? The Council won't allow it. The species is endangered. We need to relocate it to the Sanctuary Preserve on Epsilon 9, but we cannot get close enough to attach the transport collar." Vexoth's eyes dimmed with what might have been embarrassment. "We called in specialists from 12 different worlds. All failed." Rose raised her hand. "I'd like to try." The room fell silent. Every eye, compound and simple, fixed on the human. "Absolutely not," Vexoth said. "Human, your species may be known for unconventional solutions, but this is beyond reckless. You've been with us for only 3 rotations. You haven't even completed basic training." "Back home I worked with animals," Rose said simply. "Different animals, sure. But the principles are similar." "Similar?" Vexoth's carapace flushed orange with agitation. "Your world is a Class 4 death world at most. Mortis 7 is Class 12. Everything there evolved to kill everything else." "There is no similarity," Rose shrugged. "Let me at least observe it up close." After considerable debate and against his better judgment, Vexoth agreed to let Rose enter the outer observation corridor, a narrow passage separated from the Carveth's chamber by only a single barrier field. As Rose stepped into the corridor, Ilium caught her arm. The young security officer had been assigned to shadow her since her arrival, ostensibly for her own protection. In reality, she suspected the Council wanted someone to report on the unpredictable human. "Rose, this is crazy even for you," he whispered, his pale blue skin darkening with concern. "I've read the reports. That thing is a killing machine." "Then it's scared," Rose said softly. "Killing machines usually are." She entered the corridor. The Carveth immediately fixated on her, its massive head swiveling. Hot breath fogged the barrier between them. Through her boots, Rose could feel the vibrations of its low growl. Then she did something that made every observer gasp. She scratched her head. Not frantically. Not nervously. Just a casual, slow scratch like someone working out a problem. Then she yawned, stretching her arms above her head in an exaggerated motion. The Carveth's growl faltered. Rose sat down cross-legged on the floor, making herself smaller. She pulled out a ration bar and began eating it, taking her time, moving with deliberate casualness. She glanced at the creature, then away, as if it were barely interesting. "What is she doing?" Vexoth hissed into the comm. "She's moving constantly." "No," Ilium said, his eyes widening with understanding. "She's moving wrong." For prey, Rose continued her strange performance. She scratched her neck. She picked at her fingernails. She adjusted her collar. Every movement was slow, purposeful, and utterly unconcerned. She hummed tunelessly. The Carveth's posture shifted. Its haunches relaxed slightly. One of its 6 eyes blinked out of sync with the others, a sign of confusion in the species. "Prey freezes or runs," Rose explained over the comm, her voice calm. "Predators stalk. But something that just exists? That's not part of its threat assessment. I'm not acting like food. I'm not acting like a competitor. I'm just there." She stood up slowly and approached the barrier. The Carveth tensed but didn't charge. Rose scratched her head again, then examined her fingernails with exaggerated interest. She turned her back on the creature. Through the observation equipment, they could see the Carveth's brain activity changing. The aggression centers were quieting. Curiosity was emerging. "Humans," Rose said conversationally, still not looking at the creature. "We're persistence predators, right? But we're also social. We're weird. We don't fit neat categories. Sometimes that's useful." She pulled a probe remote from her belt, the device used to attach transport collars, and fiddled with it idly, scratching her ear with her other hand. Then, almost carelessly, she tossed it through the barrier field. The Carveth could have destroyed it instantly. Instead, it sniffed the device curiously. Rose waited, scratched her shoulder, yawned again. The Carveth lowered its head and, with surprising gentleness, pushed the device back through the barrier with its snout. "Well," Rose said. "That's new." Over the next hour, Rose played an odd game with the creature. She'd scratch herself, move casually, and occasionally slide the device through. The Carveth, fascinated by this strange being that refused to be categorized, engaged cautiously. Finally, Rose keyed the collar attachment sequence. The device activated and magnetically locked onto the Carveth's neck. The creature started, but Rose just scratched her head and yawned, and the Carveth settled. When Rose emerged from the corridor, the observation deck erupted in chaotic celebration. Eliam embraced her, his skin flushing bright yellow with relief. "That was the most ridiculous, insane, brilliant thing I've ever witnessed." Bexoth approached, his carapace shifting through several colors before settling on respectful purple. "Human Rose, I owe you an apology. Your methods are unorthodox." "They're human," Rose said with a grin. "We're good at being weird. It's kind of our thing." As they watched the Carveth being safely transported to its new home, Eliam shook his head. "The Council is going to want you on every impossible case now." Rose scratched her head thoughtfully. "Good, I was getting bored anyway." Somewhere in the galaxy, another impossible creature waited. And the human who moved all wrong was ready,